Hi College and Career Success, welcome to your week 2 assignment video. So we made it through week 1. Hopefully you're feeling more comfortable and confident in how to navigate Brightspace. I apologize, this course still says RevLuck on it. I am not RevLuck, I am your instructor, Dr. Remark. Hopefully that will be changed soon, but you are still in the right place. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into the lessons area. Remember, the course home is just this landing place where you're going to see your assignments and so like a snapshot of your work coming up. But the main work will be done right here in the lessons area. So the start here area will be open all semester long. You can revisit that welcome video if you need to, your syllabi, a link to the textbook, all of that will be here for you in case you need it all summer. But we're going to go ahead and focus on the lessons area itself because this is where your actual work is. There's another link to your textbook. And then that muddy point, remember that discussion board forum I talked to you about in your intro video, that also will be open all semester long in case you have questions that anyone in the course can answer. So we are going to go ahead and take a look at week 2. Week 2 covers 2 chapters. So this is a first like heavy hitting week in terms of the content. So you'll have like a quick snapshot here. We have 2 discussion forums. So you need to post in both to get your week 2 attendance. You have 2 assignments for chapter 2 and a chapter 2 quiz. You have 1 assignment for chapter 3 and a chapter 3 quiz. So what I'm going to do for this video is just focus on chapter 2, and then I'll come back with another one just for chapter 3. So you can see in your course, right above week 2, there'll be a folder that says week 2 videos. And so I encourage you to check out the lecture video on chapters 2 and chapter 3. They were videos that I used in spring, so the content is up to date. You just will see Blackboard in the background, so it kind of ignore that part of it, but the content is up and what you need to use is there. You are also welcome to, of course, in your materials folder, use the slides, the link to the chapters, anything that you might need to kind of reference. And as I said in the welcome video, I do not expect you to read the textbook or the slides word for word for word. I want you to focus on areas that are really maybe areas of growth that you need or areas that you struggle with, things that you could really have a good use of your time on. So let's go ahead for right now and just focus on chapter 2 assignments. Again, I'll be back with another video that goes over chapter 3. So chapter 2 discussion. So as you did last week, you want to click go to discussion. It's going to bring you to a different page, which is going to have the prompt. The prompt is Amanda is struggling in her history class. She is good at remembering dates and facts, but her professor's tests require her to analyze these events through cause and effect. She's really not sure how to change her learning strategies to meet these requirements. What advice would you give her and why do you think it's helpful? So this talks a little bit about learning styles and learning preferences as well as study techniques, all of which are talked about in chapter 2. And so how would you advise this student, just as like a peer, hey, maybe try this, or what kind of study techniques could you use? Have you talked to the instructor? So anything you think that you could recommend to Amanda so that she can properly prepare for a test that's going to ask her to analyze through cause and effect versus just memorizing facts. We're digging a little deeper. We're going deeper in that Bloom's hierarchy of thinking. We're not just remembering, we're analyzing. We are really trying to evaluate information. So your initial response needs to be 150 words and it needs to be posted by Wednesday for week 2 attendance. You also have a chapter 3 post you have to do for Wednesday for week 2 attendance as well. I'll talk about that prompt in the next video, but I want you to know that, hey, you have to do both for this week attendance. So remember to post, you just click on the name, and it's not going to authorize me because I'm viewing it as a student right now and the actual dates have not opened up. But when you go and you click on the name of the discussion, there's going to be a blue like start thread. That's where you post your original response. Okay, so you are responding to that prompt here that talks about Amanda and her inability to study for that test. So that's your chapter 2 discussion. Now your chapter 2 assignments. Let's go here with Brightspace. We usually have to go and click to get to the assignment there. This is called Mindsets for Success. I'm going to have you click. It's a PDF that you can, there we go, download, and you're going to be able to type in. This is the fixed versus growth mindset that chapter 2 discusses, and I talk about in the lecture video. So in this column, you have a bunch of fixed mindset statements. I'm just going to pick one, and they do have, this is too hard, twice. Ignore that last one. You don't have to fill it out twice. So let's just say, I don't need any help with my work. That's a pretty fixed mindset. What you're doing is taking that statement and any statement in this column here and turning it into a growth. So an example could be, I don't need any help. Well, okay, I might need help when it comes to math, or I might need help when it comes to writing. So you're allowing yourself a little bit of growth to know that, like, hey, we're not just bad or good at certain things. There's room to grow and improve and change and everything. So they give you an example up here. This is a worthless task. By doing this assignment, I can practice discipline and focus. So do you see how you're changing that from this very fixed, in most cases, almost very negative statement? Not all of them, but a lot of them are very negative, this fixed mindset. And you're changing them into a statement that displays, that you have room to grow, but what can you do? I don't have time. Well, I need to evaluate the time and look at how I'm using my time. I'm just gonna start typing that. All right, so when you're done, you wanna make sure that you save it or print it or download it, whatever you wanna do. So I'm just gonna kind of hit that button. It's gonna pop up. Actually, again, I did that before and I don't wanna sign into my account. So I'm just gonna hit this one, the little printer, and I'm going to tell it to print PDF. And it's going to ask me, where I want to go. So I'm just going to save it. Then I will get back into Brightspace and I'll scroll down, and then I'm going to look for my file. I saved it here. I'm going to upload. There it is. Hit open. I have to also hit add after I see it pop up. I know it's there. I have to hit add, and then I also have to hit submit. So don't forget those extra steps. I know I talked about it a little bit in week 1, but you want to make sure you go through all those steps to get that in there. So that's the mindset for success assignment. The next one, same thing. We're going to go to assignments. This is called the 10 and 25 year from now you. Another PDF. You're going to open that up. Here it is. And what you're going to do, it says pretend that you run into your teacher, so whatever teacher you want to envision, in 10 years, what would the 10 year from now you look like? So in education, what is that going to look like in 10 years? Relationships, financial, living environment, and anything else you can think of. I've had students talk about their travel, their animals, their hobbies, and then you're going to do the same thing with 25 years from now. Where are you going to be? So it's kind of like a goal setting assignment without coming right out and saying, hey, we need to set these SMART goals. It's just envisioning yourself in a certain period of your life if you ran into someone from your current time period. And then same thing, you want to make sure that you save it. If you ever have a document that it says hey, save with or without your changes, always save it with your changes, or you're going to upload a blank document to me. So make sure you save it, and then just like I did before, you want to make sure that you go down here, add a file, find it, add it, submit it. All right, so those are your 2 chapter 2 assignments. Those are due Sunday. Your chapter 2 quiz. Again, it's going to ask you to go to the assignment. This one is going to be a Word doc though, so you're going to download it. It's going to pop up for you. Anytime you have a document, if that little yellow bar pops up, make sure you click Enable Editing so you can actually type. And these are the questions for chapter 2. Think about teachers and experiences you've had in the past. In what ways did some teachers or experiences cause you to doubt your success or your potential? In what ways did they inspire you? Based on what you learned about grit, what is your belief that you are going to reach your goals now? So maybe talk about either a negative or positive experience and how that shaped you. And do you believe in yourself? What's your kind of confidence in being able to reach your goal now? Question 2. If you have children or younger sibling or family members, so think about children, cousins, siblings, maybe could just be like a family friend, anyone. What kind of messages are you sending about working hard to reach your goals? What messages are you sending about struggling and failing? Do you think you should change those messages? And how can you go about doing that? Question 3, when was the last time you asked a question in class? Maybe you just asked a question last semester. Maybe you emailed me recently and asked a question. How did it make you feel? Were you worried about what others might think, or were you most interested in how the teacher would answer? Make a list of thoughts you had to analyze. Obviously, it's going to vary based on if you asked a question in class versus if you asked a question in an online class. So just think about like asking questions. It's really getting to the heart of, are you asking questions? How do you feel about that process and interaction with your teacher and classmates? Question 4, this kind of connects back to the assignment we just got done talking about not that long ago. Have you ever considered whether you have a fixed or growth mindset? How do you see yourself? And then how can knowing about fixed or growth mindsets influence your decision making and future goals and way you're going to approach them? And then finally, number 5, have you ever heard about the hidden curriculum as it talks about in your book? And then maybe see if anyone around you kind of knows about the hidden curriculum. What are some things that a college student needs to know about college that no one seems to tell you? So think about things. I know if this is your very first semester, we're only in week 2, so you may still be finding out things, but think about like, what are some things you wish you would have known? Anything about financial aid, anything about scheduling classes, anything about a content area, and so make a list of those things and why each of those should be helpful. All right, so make sure you answer each question in 2 to 5 complete sentences. I do want to just point out real quickly that with quizzes or any assignment really in here, I do not mind if you use AI to kind of help maybe fix some grammar, some spelling, maybe even some brainstorming, but please make sure your work is original. Brightspace does have the ability to kind of like pick up on if AI was used to generate responses, meaning you basically just plug the question into AI and it spit it out for you and you copied and pasted, or you even changed a few words. We have detectors that can still kind of see that. So just make sure that you're using AI responsibly. I'm not saying you can't use it at all, but make sure it's still your work. And I say that now because I run into it most of the time on the quizzes, not usually the other assignments, sometimes on discussion boards. All right, so that is your chapter 2 video. I will come back and talk about chapter 3 specifically. See you next time.